welcome to Chapman's Corner. I'm Bert and I only started racing this year. I got my license in March, first drove an F1000 in May, and then entered my first race in June. So it all happened relatively quickly. A lot of you have been asking questions around how to get into F1000 or racing in general and what the costs are associated. So I'm going to cover all of those points in this video, and hopefully you'll be able to follow that path if that's what you want. Fortunately, it's quite a short story, so I'll do my best to keep it as interesting as possible so you guys don't end up thinking like Dylan here. If you already have your ARDS license and are racing in other series, then you might want to skip ahead. Check out the comments to see the timestamp. If you have no racing experience at all and you want to enter this world, then I'm going to cover what steps you need to take to get your race license and get on track. I tried various sports over the past few years, including skiing, gymnastics, and skydiving. As you can tell, there's a little bit of a theme, going fast with a lot of calculated risks, which brings us really nicely onto motorsports. I had no friends or family that were into F1 or motorsport growing up. It was actually Drive to Survive that got me into it. Thanks a lot, Netflix. If you have no experience other than driving cars on the road, I would suggest two things. Firstly, I would go down to your local karting track and try that out. And second of all, if you have the space for it, you might want to set up a sim at home. Hooroo, baby. Little left, down one. You might find that both of these scratch the itch that you have for racing. Whilst I appreciate it's still not cheap, karting is definitely the best way into motorsport. Karting teaches you the fundamentals of racing, such as racing lines, throttle control, braking techniques, and of course racecraft versus other drivers. And whilst crashes of all sizes, small or big, can happen, you're unlikely to walk away with a very high repair bill. I've been go-karting maybe 3 times in my life before. The classic 16-year-old birthday party, a family event for my dad's birthday, and of course, a stag do as well. So I went down to my local karting track, Daytona Sandown Park in Surrey, and tried out their 2-stroke D-Max karts. These things are very fast. They like to claim that they can go up to 70 miles an hour, but I haven't topped it out much more than 60. Once you're racing competitively, forging your own racecraft, and feeling something for a bit more speed, you might want to move on to cars. To race cars, you're going to need a ARDS license, a racing license. These are pretty simple to get. At first, you want to get a racing welcome pack from Motorsport UK. This will have a memory card on it, which will give you the welcome video and give you the instructions of what you need to do to enter. Hopefully this video will give you most of that for you. You will then need to book your ARDS test. The welcome pack will set you back about £105 and the ARDS license test £270. I did my license test at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit layout. This was because it's only an hour from my house, so the closest one to me, but it's also the easiest track to learn as it only has 5 corners. The classroom session lasts about an hour. Here you'll be looking at things like the flag systems that are used universally across all racetracks, standard racing safety on track and off track in the pits, and some racing fundamentals. You then take a written assessment. This is typically 20 to 30 questions, of which about a third of them are around the flag systems, matching up the description to the colour flag, and the rest are multiple choice questions, some of which are as easy as, if your car's on fire on track, what do you do? Do you wait around for a marshal in the car, or do you get out and stand safely behind the barrier? Yes, some of them are really that easy. The practical is a lot more fun than the road test that you might have taken in your car. It consists of 10 minutes of practice and another 10 minutes under assessment conditions. Really what the instructor is looking for is that you can drive safely around a track, aware of others around you, able to get out of the way whilst checking your mirrors, overtaking safely, and driving at a reasonable pace whilst not setting any lap records. If you end up on the grass, the gravel, or worse, the barrier, I think it's safe to say that you didn't pass. After you do pass your assessment, you'll receive your ARDS license in the post. This is when you're able to get on track. I would suggest contacting a few teams or owners of cars. You're able to do this a number of ways. There are a lot of Facebook groups where people offer drives for their cars or their team's cars. That's somewhere where I would start. I wasn't aware of it beforehand, but it would have been a good place to start had I have known. What I'd recommend is going to track to watch some racing on the weekends. It's very accessible in the pit lane to be able to go and talk to drivers and teams, meet people, network, and also be able to look at the cars and even sit in them. This is a big difference from Formula One if you've ever been to one of those races. I had a few contacts through karting and other people that I had met, so I booked a test day at Silverstone in the Formula Ford 2000. I went down to Silverstone National at the beginning of the year. I met Fraser Corbin of Jedi Cars, who is the manufacturer of the Jedi F1000 racing cars that the championship uses. Fraser was able to put me in touch with one of the teams who had a drive available. I booked a test day at Snetterton in the F1000, and the rest is kind of history. You can check out the video to see how that went. Some things to consider getting into motor racing that you might not have thought about before, and something I wish I had known ahead of time. When booking a test day, you would need to book directly with the track. Whether your team might help you out with this, I'm not sure, but you have to book your test day directly with the track. A lot of these in the UK are owned by MSV. Choose the type of car you'd be driving, whether it's open or closed wheel, and fill out your details, including your license information. A typical test day will cost you between £360 and £420 for the day. The typical day structure of a test is 4 half-an-hour sessions, depending on how busy the track is and how available. They're often split between closed wheel and open wheel. Something that we haven't mentioned is that you'll have to get FIA approved race gear. This includes a FIA approved helmet. I would recommend ZAMP because they're the most cost effective, and a hands safety device. Those are the things that go around your neck and attach to the helmet. This is to prevent you whiplashing when you crash. If you crash, I should say. This ZAMP helmet here cost me around £550. My hands device cost me £150. My racing suit cost me £450. My race gloves and my race shoes cost me about £140 combined. A balaclava was about £40. The fireproof underwear was surprisingly expensive. The long johns were about £120, and the fire resistant Under Armour top was around £80 to £100. One final thing is you may want to get a camera. Of course, not only is it good to be able to review your race, to be able to review your test days and see how you drove, see where you were making mistakes or going wrong, or where you could gain time, it's also absolutely fantastic to watch the footage back, whether you're looking to edit videos like I do, or whether you're just looking to relive the moment. I definitely recommend getting one. If you end up crashing the car or damaging it, even if it's something like suspension from going off the track, you will be expected to pay for this, and it isn't cheap. Therefore, what I'd recommend is building up on your first test day, drive within your limits, and start to get to know the car and the track. I wish I was told how frustrating racing can be from day one. At Snetterton on my first test day, I had a drive shaft broke within the first 20 minutes of my lap. Unfortunately, that was terminal and I wasn't able to get back on track. At Donington Park in my second test day, I had some electrical issues that were eventually resolved, but it meant in a red flag twice for myself coming off the track. Of the 120 minutes track time that we were supposed to have, I think that I got maybe 65, 70 minutes. A typical test day can look to be about £1,200 per day just for the rental of the car, and then you're looking at around £360 to £410 to the track. If you have a sim, then you're at a huge advantage to other people. Obviously, you can learn standard driving techniques online and get a lot more seat time. Whilst it doesn't have the ARDS feel and the physical feel that real racing does, you can learn braking points and the tracks before you go to them. I drove Snetterton, Croft and Donington Park all before attending the track for the first time. It's much easier if you know what corners are coming up and what gear you need to be in, so you can focus on how the car feels and how... If your test goes well, then the team might invite you to drive in one of their races. That's what happened for me. Whilst you don't have to be setting record lap times, they want to make sure that you're within a couple of seconds of the championship racing speed, so it's safe for you and safe for everyone else. The Swallow Hill Holmes F1000 Championship, run by 750 Motor Club, uses the Jedi manufactured cars. This is a single type of car that is used in the racing series, and you can get into it by contacting either Jedi Racing Cars, who will be able to put you in one of their cars, or maybe another team. There are often other drives advertised as mentioned on Facebook as well. Everyone in motor racing is really excited to get others joining the fold. Everyone's friendly and is happy to share information. There are also other series like Monoposto, which run varying different types of car on the grid, whereas 750MC runs the same car on the grid for F1000. Hopefully this video has answered a few questions you might have had. If there's anything I missed or you want to know something new, please let me know in the comments. I appreciate your support. This is a new growing channel, hopefully following my passion for racing and the championship for next year. As mentioned, I have bought my own F1000 now. I will be releasing a video showing what car I bought, what my expectations and goals are for the new championship, especially with a final race coming up for this year. The final race is at Alton Park on the 7th of October. I will be testing my new F1000 at Donington in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully you'll tune in to that video to see how this new car looks and how competitive I might be for next season.